Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kickback Reviews Insecure Season 5, Episode 10, the series finale of the show that we have come to know as Insecure. With me as always is the Insecure crew. We got it's a lot of us in this thing. So we're gonna talk about it. And we're gonna talk about the finale episode and just talk about the series as a whole and its hold on the Black millennial society and culture and what is meant to us and all of that good stuff. So let's just do it how we always do. I will start to my right. Kasia, what did you think about the episode?
In the end, I loved it. In the end, I loved it. I loved how it started off getting Nathan out of here because he had no point in being here in the first place. But then the pacing and the birthdays, to me, at first was a lot to keep up with. So I was like, where are we? What years it was happened? These scenes are literally 4 minutes long, and then they show LA, and then we're off to somebody else's birthday. So at first, for the first 25 minutes, I was like, everything has happened, but nothing at the same time has happened. So I was a little like, in my feelings about that. But overall, I really loved seeing a bow on Molly and Issa more than anything, and Issa and Lawrence eventually. I have took back my stance. I am very proud of Molly and how far she's come in her growth. Gab. So yeah, I really enjoyed the episode. I really enjoyed how it ended. And just more than anything, I think a lot of people on Twitter were like, "Oh, like Issa didn't choose herself," and I was like, "No, like I think she showed it's possible to choose yourself, and then also being a partnership. Like it's not an either or situation. You can do both at the same time." So I liked that perspective because I don't think you see that enough.
I screenshotted your tweet about that. We'll come back to that later because that's a
I
very
figured
great
you would.
That's a very great conversation
I
topic.
know I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna.
Raph, your thoughts on the show as a whole? I mean, not. I'm sorry, not
Um,
as a whole, the
the,
finale.
the episode,
Yeah.
yes. I thought it was very well done. I'm glad they kind of kept their promise as a show, and then within the show in terms of them talking to each other about we really need to get together for each other's birthdays, and then that being the final episode, and showing each point of view and getting to each of their birthdays, and then having something within all of those birthdays that you could kind of pick at. I thought it was very well done. To piggyback on what Kasia said, in terms of putting a bow on Molly and Issa was fantastic. I think like watching it a second time, really I was able to like really pay attention to that relationship. And it was you could see the real growth in there and like how they really leaned on each other. And then obviously with Lawrence at the end, um, I have my issues with that in a sense. I'm happy for it, but I do have some issues. But it's just typical HBO, uh, you know, typical behavior, typical HBO behavior. But okay, well, I'll pass off.
Game
Oh,
Game of
okay.
Game of Thrones stuff.
Not that bad. Not that bad. Let's not get
I was
crazy.
like, it's.
I
That's
actually
bad.
I actually like that you brought up the fact that they kept their pact of being around for birthdays because at one point our nerdy group, our friend group, we are like, we're gonna go to Vegas every March to watch for the Pac-12 basketball tournament. We ain't been to Vegas yet. That was 6 years ago we came to that pact and we never did it because life happened. And it was very good to see that they kept that thing going as a device for the show. So Tim and Derica at the bottom right. Give me y'all thoughts on the finale.
Um, I think it was pretty dope. I agree with Kasia. I wish it was threaded together more flawlessly. Um, as far as the understanding of the time jumps, the times were irrelevant, but it still would have allowed us to land in the new scene a lot better. Allow us to be more present in the beginning of that scene versus like trying to like gather what's going on and not actually get all of the dialogue that's happening. You understand what I'm saying? That was the like, because it was like soon as you were like getting into it, you had to find a way to get settled, and then it would be long, but then not long enough because it took you a long time to get there to really understand the dichotomy of everything that was going on with every single character at that moment in time in that different scene or that different birthday party. So that's my only thing that I would say was frustrating, or if you want to say it's negative. Other than that, I think it was a really, really, really dope episode. I'm happy with the ending. I am. I was really, really happy with the connections to the beginning of the series. I love those kinds of things in series finales. Um, the cinematography was really, really dope in some of those things, like that wedding. Like I love seeing all of them up. Like they looked phenomenal. Like all of them did. And I think that was the best way to go out. I'll stop right there. But like I just think that was the best way for them to go out. It was on the up for real.
Derek?
Okay. I like how choices was a really big part of this season. And we saw Issa like make choices and like really make them from your point of like she chose herself. So we saw her choose herself, and even with the preview from the last episode and what life could look like if she chose different things, and then just seeing her make those choices and still seeing her success, like still seeing her get her happy. So that was nice to see that. I think some people might even thought that it was cheesy for her to have like her happy ending, but like it's something that needs to be represented for us. We need to be able to see that we can make those certain choices and we can get our happy ending. Like we deserve that. You know what I mean? As Black women that's thriving and trying to figure themselves out as they're growing. And I like how it showed just like the growth of her and Molly's relationship and how they had the moment at the end. It was like, even though they have their person, they've chosen their other person, they still continue to choose each other as friends. They was like, I can keep doing this as long as I got you. And it's like, same girl, like we get each other through everything, even with our men, you know what I mean? Like they may come and go, whatever might happen, but like we're up for everything too. So just as much as Lawrence was her soulmate, we really get to see her have her soulmate as her best friend also. And being able to really have both and being able to just see everybody get to choose themselves and continue to choose each other in their friend group as their big support. So I really liked how we saw just everything be appreciated. And we saw Issa like take that little ride down memory lane and just see everything that along her journey that helped her get to this place and how she just can appreciate this so much more. And then even the tie with the beginning, the very first episode, Lawrence forgot her birthday. And then this episode we're closing out, Lawrence is at the house making a cake for her on her birthday. You know what I mean? So just even seeing their growth as far as where they are as a couple was beautiful. I loved it.
See, I wasn't even into them synchronicities that y'all done found out. That's good. I think that a lot of people, a lot of things I've seen, and even Raph, this is what Rasan said, was like the show isn't about the love affair between Issa and Lawrence. Mm-hmm. It's really about the love affair that Issa and Molly have. They are the right. Issa and Molly are the soulmates, and you know that's how it goes. Like their relationship mirrors what you would have in their friendship mirrors what you would have in a relationship, the ups and downs, the
correct.
Hatred, but you choose, if you want to, you choose to make it work how you need to make it work. Mm-hmm. All right, and so we'll go to Gabby. Gabby, I want to give you more time because we don't know how long we got you because you know what I'm saying, you out here scheduled. scheduling dinner dates and whatnot. So we're just gonna let you have the time to talk about this episode and the finale and the series as a whole.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm in the car. So if if my signal cut out, I'm sorry. But I just had to get on here and talk because I was like, damn, it's the finale. So yeah, I really like my thoughts on the episode was, how she wrapped up the title of the show, Insecure. We saw them go from being insecure and like all their choices to being secure now. So I thought that was pretty cool, and just the nostalgic moment of her going down memory lane, driving past all of those memories that we will forever remember with Insecure, from where she lived in her apartments to where uh, homeboy was working whenever he wasn't able to be the boss dude, but he was just trying to have something under his belt. Just all the memories that the show has given us, and then finally we can see them all really glowing and doing things that we probably couldn't see them doing in the show because they just kept being self-sabotaging. So I will say the biggest shock was Kelly being pregnant and finding her forever soulmate. I was very shocked by Issa's choice at the end. I was. And I have my thoughts on that, but I just don't even think it's no need to go into it since it's the finale. But yeah, I thought it was done very well, though. I really enjoyed it. I felt their looks were everything. The color she chose to put on their skin tones was just perfect. Yeah, it was a great ending.
Okay, well, here's what we're gonna do. Quick recap for those who, if you're watching this show, all six of you, it means you have watched the episode already. So just recap wise, Nathan breaks up with Issa at the beginning of the episode, and at the end of the episode, Issa ends up with Lawrence. Kelly ends up pregnant with somebody that they didn't think that she was going to be with for a long time. Tiffany is miserable in Denver, but she's pregnant again at Molly's wedding. Molly marries Torian. Molly's mom passes away, which some people talk about that if they probably had a couple more episodes, there was something you could talk about there in the grief that you feel when the loved one passed away at this age. But so that's the end. But like I said, Gabby, I know you got something to do, so I want to stick to where the point that you made. Why don't you like her decision? Because this is where the conversation can start and go. Why don't you like her decision of choosing Lawrence or choosing to be with Lawrence?
So it had nothing to do with the choice. It was more so of, I would have liked to see more of a glow on her face, like when she saw Molly and her happiness. I just didn't see that look in her face at the end. It was just kind of like, she with a kid. That's never mind. Yeah, it just didn't give what I would like to see. I would have liked to see her get a ring, something. Like she got a birthday cake by a little boy that's Condolas. And I was just like, damn, sis, can we get a ring?
She flashed the ring, girl. She had a ring.
She had a ring on. She had a ring on.
We missed the ring.
She flashed it.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, when she was in the mirror, you
Why
gotta
didn't show the proposal.
Because I guess it wasn't
time
happening.
That was part of it. A lot of people felt cheated because they wanted to see Lawrence's proposal.
Yeah.
She did have a ring on her finger, and some people say I just finished watching about 10 minutes ago, and I can't say definitively, but they didn't say that Lawrence had a ring on his finger, so it might still be in an engagement territory instead of marriage. But there was when they were doing the cake stuff, I couldn't tell. He did a very good job of hiding his hand.
That's whack. But yeah, they could have for sure went more into that, but whatever. I'm actually kind of glad that
Raph, your mic ain't connected. Go ahead, Gary. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was saying, kind of happy we wrapped this up though. Low key. Why? I just felt like it was just stringing us along. It was stringing us along, and we could have gotten to this moment a long time ago.
No, you couldn't have. You couldn't have got because they had to grow. because they had to grow.
Hey, we saw them. We saw them
They-
growing them in those long episodes that were pointless.
Nathan was pointless. Can we all agree that Nathan? Raise your
Yes,
hand if you
very
think
pointless.
Nathan was pointless.
Nathan,
We didn't need no Nathan. Nathan could have stayed off of this series for the whole thing.
But I think Issa
I think you
needed
kind of
some
need
type of. She needed some
You need.
conflict, but it
Yeah,
wasn't believable enough.
I mean, I think it was what everything that happened. What it did show was Nathan was not ready for any of this. I think it was that whole situation was forced, and you can see how scared he was in the beginning of the episode when he's like, "Yo, I can't deal with all of this." Like it was like the contrast to see what happened at the end of the last episode with Lawrence going for it, and like what Chad had told him, he was like, "Yo, but you didn't even fight for it." So now he was fighting for it, and then now right into this episode, you don't see Nathan fight for it. He literally lets her get out the car, and it was just like, "Yo, I'm ready to give up at the first sign of some trouble. Like that's it. We're in. We were just looking for a crib, and now one thing happens, and I'm out. I'm running again." But this is his nature. Like he's done this multiple times, and all he does is run away from his stuff, and that's like a whole nother thing. But that's his MO, and that's the purpose that he serves within this show.
Can we talk about that?
Let's talk about it, Casey. What you want to say?
I was just really upset with the lack of accountability from Nathan and the breakup, where it's just like, you have all this drama and you're toxic and all this shit. And it's like, you started that fight, sir. You started that fight. And then after the fight, you're like, you're toxic. And it's just like, let's not mention you just disappearing to Houston for what, 6 months?
Dude was tripping over some barbecue. Like, what?
Like, come on.
Who got the best barbecue? That was
He wasn't tripping over barbecue.
Y'all gotta remember they brought him in for a mental health pitch. That was really his part. Like,
correct.
Because it was supposed to be just real life, us seeing like a black man battle mental health, but we don't really see him like really like change with it, right? Because it wasn't really about him. The storyline where we really didn't have to see his growth. That's why he kind of was irrelevant. It was like they just wanted to add that part in there to just have a mental health awareness, but it was like.
Right. So wait. So here, somebody said it. He started the fight. Well, part of the reason why he started the fight because Kay and Gabby, y'all weren't here last week. So we had it was all boys, including Derek, because she spoke for all women last week. When we were talking about because Nathan had let Lawrence live in his head for so long. Nathan was scared of Lawrence. Nathan knew what Lawrence was already. Nathan knew he was a placeholder, which I can imagine. I can imagine that some of us have been in a situation where you're dealing with somebody and you kind of know that they got, they 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you trying to be 2 feet in, whatever. But to Raph's point, like you said, bro didn't try to fight at all. He didn't try to fight that night when he came back for Issa's birthday party. He didn't try to fight then and say, you know what, I've been thinking a lot about this way I left it. I didn't maybe this, that, boom, boom. Nigga, he was just done, which is his nature. When it's a problem, it's over with. He's gone. Here's something. I want to step away from Issa and Lawrence for a second. And then after this conversation, if it's a good conversation, if it's not, we'll go to the Molly Torian conversation. But talk about Kelly, right? So we'll talk about Kelly in that it's been known for the 4 seasons. Kelly didn't want kids. Kelly didn't want anything. But Kelly met someone who changed her thoughts and changed her mind, knew she was okay with doing that. I guess the question would be, I don't know how I word it. I think y'all know the type of question I want to ask, but I don't know how to word it. Like, have you met someone? Have you been in a situation? What if you were in a situation where you had your life plan one way, then you met someone that kind of altered it and it changed, saying things like that. because there are a bunch of women who say I never want to have kids, and they meet somebody and say, you know what, I do want to have his kids. Or there's a bunch of women that say I never thought I'd be married, and they meet somebody and they say, oh, I want to be married to this guy. So have you ever been in that type of situation, or been seen, experienced, whatever, not maybe not your own, that you've seen something like that happen? And I'll go in order. I'll just go in order. I'll call on you. So let's go with Kasia.
I honestly think it's more about Kelly than the guy. As they alluded to, I'm so mad they never told us what meant that she died. Because like the show's over, and we have no idea what that means. But I think her coming to this point was more about her growth and her openness and like reflecting what she wants, and then meeting someone who comes along who's more aligned with it. So I think the right person can help. But I think it also takes a lot of like inner growth and just figuring out what you as a person truly want and what's important to you. So her whole like spiritual awakening, I think that helped her come to this point more than the specific person. I think she just wouldn't have been ready for this person if she would have met him prior.
Good.
Also,
it's
Exactly
good.
what I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
No, we're just saying that's good. We're just saying that's really good.
Also, it's just a tangent in me loving how Insecure brings in people from like their own camp. So the guy that she's dating, his name is James Bland. He's his own writer who has this mini series that Issa helped executive produce, and now he's managed by Color Creative, which is Issa's company. And so all throughout the episode, they start like plugging little people. Like Lawrence's 2-second girlfriend is one of the producers. Fiance, who's an actor, like they really took this last episode to plug their people. So I was gonna take a moment to shout them out for doing that.
That actor was also in. Did he play in 101? James Bland? Is that the same dude? The sitcom a few years ago. I'm gonna look it up.
You look it up. I don't recall, but
I'm gonna look it up. Raph, what you talking about? Have you ever met somebody that changed your whole mind about what you want to do? Not 101. Not 101. What's the other one? God damn it.
Sorry, I lost you for a little bit. Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's on you, bro. My bad.
Oh, Kasia pretty much took exactly what I was gonna say. I think the whole like her dying, and then like kind of coming back and really just putting everything out there for herself to just kind of experience new things and just open up her world in a better way, and open up her mind, just made it easier for her to be more accepting of like this opportunity to even have a kid. And I think to your original question, and like, have you ever met someone who changed your mind about certain things like that? Like, obviously Sharan. Not everybody does, but Sharan didn't want to have kids like before I met her. So like we, I assumed that I would have kids eventually. I wasn't like, hey, whatever, I'm not gonna have kids. But she didn't want to have kids, and here we are with a 7-year-old. So it happens.
We got Madison out of it, baby. That's my girl. We got
Big
Madison out of it. That's my girl. So I got it wrong. The actor I was talking about was called Brian Hooks. If you look up Brian Hooks and this dude, Jason Bland, they're very similar. They were probably separated at birth. So we'll go down to Tim and Derica. Any situation or something where you had your mind set relationship wise, where it's like, boom, and then something happens, you meet somebody, life happens, and your mind changes.
I mean, I guess for me personally, it would be like, I always wanted to have kids, but like I never thought that I would, like earlier on in my like adulthood, like I never wanted to like have anybody else's child. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to like have to take in somebody else's child, be a stepfather in that way, because it was like, shoot, I'm getting up this far, I ain't got no kids of my own. Like I'm a unicorn. I got a nice job, I'm doing this, and it's like, man, and that exact thought process could be the exact thing to be like blocking you, because you never know exactly how your life is going to go. You never know who's tied to who, what's what. And so like me even removing that thought process like a year and a half, 2 years ago, allowed me to lead back down to be in the situation I'm in right now. So it's like, That would be my only like personal example of that, you know, because other than that, I actually wanted to have kids. But yeah.
Yeah. Personally, I don't think I have any. I mean, no, not really. Not really.
No, I mean, and obviously it doesn't happen for everybody. Some people,
Right.
you
I
know,
was really
they
trying to
have
think. Like, no, I don't
it's not,
think. But
yeah.
even what Kasia said about Kelly and just the whole death, you know, like normally when you're going through like a spiritual awakening or like the start of your spiritual awakening is sometimes a near-death experience or something that just gets you really low to where you have to then go through that phase. So I liked how, and I noticed it immediately, like when they first introduced her like as being dead in that episode, I was like, where are they going with this? But immediately, like it was like an episode after that, I started hearing her talk. I'm like, oh, so she going through a spiritual awakening. Like I peeped it immediately. So I liked how it ended up developing out. It was very it was almost like very similar in a sense. It was very relatable.
It
Like
was
for
real.
me personally, like going through a spiritual awakening within the last couple of years, and then boom, getting with my person, and I already have a child, but it's like, bam, we built a family quickly. So it's like it was kind of crazy to see like when you really go on that journey and you're like really open for it, what can happen, like
Man,
what can take off for you.
when
So
you remove your blinders, like when
yeah.
you just do the work. Like if you just stay open and do the work, like try to like make the best of the things that you did wrong and all that. Just like take responsibility and just like be open to like moving forward. Like, man, you don't know where your life will take you, man. It's like it's a beautiful thing. So like to see Kelly, that's why like when she was tapping in, even in the episode when they were all in the house, the girls, it was like, no, like she was dropping
You
a
said
whole
that.
game. She was
She
like,
was.
she
You
was
said
showing
that.
you the
You said that.
game.
Yeah.
You said that. That's why I told you. That's why we had to watch an episode with y'all, because y'all niggas be on the higher plane when y'all watch this, young bro. Y'all third and fourth, I be open, and I don't know if I'm never open. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really with. I can't get it when I'm watching it by myself. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I appreciate the viewpoints that y'all have, because it's one thing y'all been saying it since that episode, actually. Even before the girlfriends episode, y'all were saying that. So that's super interesting. Miss Gabby, let's talk to you about this. Like, I guess, like, do you understand Kelly's decision? Have you been in that world? Like, boom, 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 and then that's going to lead to another question.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand her decision. Um, I can't say personally I can relate to that because, like, I think more so it's like time and well, not really time, but like you can't really plan anything. But I never, I guess I learned early on never to say never. So, um, yeah, but agreeing with what Keisha said, with what Kelly experienced, I'm sure that kind of triggered, her change in thought and, really being accepting to that. I've seen a lot of girls go through that where they, especially in college, everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm not having kids. I'm going to live this kind of life. I'm going to do this. And you see them on social media and it's completely different. Like they get engaged or they have it, putting up baby announcements. So, yeah, but personally, I can't say I've actually like experienced that yet.
So moving along in the same realm, I guess. A lot of people were telling Issa not to get back with Lawrence because they didn't want Issa to be a stepmom. Like, that was something that she could not handle, something that is like, I guess, a badge of whatever to her. And Issa was just like, you know what, bro, this is my guy. This is my person. And you saw obviously now we saw the episode. We've listened to the podcast. We watched the wind downs. We read the thing. So you kind of figure out all this other stuff. But you look at the 2 episodes ago when they had the girls' night, and Tiffany said, what always might be the right, whatever she said, like might be the right choice, isn't the choice that feels better. Whatever she says, like that your right choice might not be the popular choice for everyone else. And it was all like kind of setting it up for Issa to make this decision to kind of go back to Lawrence because, and I think Alex and I talked about this tonight. Don't know if y'all agree with it or not, but the best episode of this series was an episode, the Lawrence and Issa episode in season 4. That was the best episode of this series, best written episode, best visually shot episode. That's the one that won all of their awards. That's the best. And if you watch that, that's when you can tell, okay, these folk in it, if they get it right, these folk in it for the long haul. So I guess the question is, I started going from stepmama question to something else, but I guess the question is, did Issa make the right decision?
Yeah.
Let's start with y'all. Let's start with Tim and Derica. Did Issa make the right decision?
Yeah, she followed her heart. I think she made the right decision for Issa. Like that he's her person. She loved that man, like, and he loved her. And they both had the breakup. They hurt each other. They grew from it, and it was still like, even in the midst of all of that, it still was like, I don't hate you. I'm not mad at you. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at you for too long. I still want to work this out with you. Like, regardless of what we had to go through, it's still like, I still choose you. So I definitely think she made the best decision. And it just came with Lawrence at that point. Like, him having a child didn't stop her love for him. It wasn't conditional. She has like an unconditional love for him. So I think if they was operating in condition, then it would have been too much for Issa, or she probably wouldn't have went through it. But it was more of an unconditional love for him. So that's why she was able to accept him even with the child. It was like,
you take everything that
I'm taking everything that come with you.
Because it's like it don't matter. It's you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a part of you. It's all you. So it's all love.
I'm gonna tell that phrase. We're operating in condition, unconditioned. Come on, girl, Derica, girl. You over here preaching, man. Don't get it. Don't do it. Raph, what you think? We know Gabby. I'm not going to you on this question because you already said that you don't think you made the right.
No, I didn't.
You can go back on mute. Go back on mute. We don't need to hear it.
Whatever.
Raph.
So, yes, I do think that she made the right decision. I think with everything that they need to do, I think to Tim and Derica's point, in terms of what they had to go through to get to this point, in terms of separating, finding themselves, bettering themselves, and then getting back together. Like, it gave them an opportunity to love themselves before they could love each other as much as they really needed to. I think that was the really important part. But then it just pisses me off because in typical HBO fashion, we gotta just tie it all together in a rush. Like, oh my God, I hate it so much. Again, this is my problem with so many HBO shows. And again, I can't. It sucks that I've got to put it on HBO because, you know, these shows have their own writers, but it's on your platform and it keeps fucking happening. So I'm gonna blame you. Like, I'm sorry. Like, stop doing this shit. Stop wrapping it up in a rush. Please stop. So that's my problem.
Supposed to be 30 minutes, bro.
It's just a matter of like rushing to piece it all together. And again, I love the episode. I am happy that it was Lawrence. You know, I think it worked out well, and it came together well, but it was just wrapping it all up like this is my biggest issue. Like,
Hey,
again,
I agree in general, but I looked and I saw that this was a 49-minute episode, and this is the longest episode in the five.
Oh, so now you satisfied after complaining?
No, I am just going.
You are the biggest person when it came to they need to extend the show. It needs to be an hour, and now you get 49 minutes.
No, I'm not giving it a pass. Here's what I'm going to say. If they would have given 5 more minutes, you would have had an actual, like, standard hour-long TV show with commercials. Like, they almost made it. So just for that, I just wanted to recognize that there was no other episode like even close. Like it was like a 39-minute one. I think it was a 30, a 43 or 41 or something like that. Minute one, but like, yeah, this was the longest one by far, man. I'm sorry, Rap. I just had to point that out. It might not have anything to do with your point, but I just wanted to make sure I threw that out there because I looked that up.
Rap, can I say something?
Go ahead, Gazer.
To Tim's point, yes, this is the longest episode. And I really appreciate it being long, but even with it being the longest episode, they gave us the most important information in 4 minutes. Kelly being with this dude and having a baby was so out of the picture for her. It's just like, I was kind of disappointed because I think this entire season kind of felt like we've all grown now. Here's our ending. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. We kind of saw it, but not really. So in his last episode, I was upset for like the first 25 minutes because it was just like, Kelly's pregnant, Miles getting married, Miles' mom died. Like we're getting all these really, Tiffany hates Denver. Like we're getting all these like small pieces of information that had a lot more context behind them. So in a way, the longest episode felt the most rushed to me.
I will say this though. One thing that I want to say in context, it was all shot in the pandemic. And so there were limitations that I wanted. I will give them a pass.
I don't want to hear that shit.
They mentioned that in the documentary, and that's the context in which I'll give. Like, I hate that everything's rushed. I hate that. Like we talked about that from the very beginning. This pace of this season is like that. I hate when they do that. But finding that out, I do understand why they had to do some like major. They could have did it differently, but I have to give them some grace on that. I have to.
Yeah, but so for what you, but yeah, I can't listen. So to your point, Kaja, though, but like, so what you were saying in terms of like you were pissed off because of you got 4 minutes and it's this, and that, but technically all this stuff was set up. Like if you're looking at the other episodes, that we knew that Tiffany hated Denver just off of the going away party. Like Rasan said it in our group chat, it's the backhanded fucking compliments to Denver. And like it's like, oh yeah, they have the best city park system. It was and like, fam, nobody gives a fuck about that. Like, you know, this is okay. Sorry, Slim. That's on me. I just realized.
I for one give a fuck about the park system.
Out of all the people,
that's what pays my salary, good sir.
I am so sorry about that. That's on me. That is on me. But anyway, but like all this stuff, I feel like was set up. So like, yes, they are 4 minute shots, but I think we got all of this in prior episodes in order to kind of get us to this point where they had to kind of package it. But again, I agree with your point. The longest episode felt the most rushed. Like I completely agree with that.
Here's what I'm going to say.
I also agree.
I'm going to say, Cage, and I think that I'm going to say what you're about to say because we're all thinking it. Just take away 2 of the Nathan episodes and we could have had a proper series. Nobody cares.
And minus some canola oil too. You can take away some of that.
We needed the baby. We needed the baby. We had to
put in the baby. Take away the Nathan episodes and we good. We good. We got the time to feel. I feel like
That's
she was
not what I was going to say.
I'm sorry. I feel like she was doing that dude a favor. You know, you're my guy. I'm gonna put you in the show for a couple episodes because we didn't need him. Sir, we didn't need you at all. Okay, what were you about to say?
I'll say one. Yes, I agree they set it up, but I think in storytelling, it's the difference between telling it and showing it. And I just like they didn't show a lot. Like we just kind of told this happened. So that's my biggest grievance. It's just like they told us, so it wasn't completely random, but they didn't show us a lot because they didn't have that much time, which I get.
Yes.
But also Nathan was necessary. Issa needed a conflict. She needed like something to choose between. I don't like their chemistry. Like it didn't feel like that hard of a choice because it was just like, you don't like Nathan, girl. You don't really like him.
And to me, that's the biggest thing right there. You don't really like him. and it was a forced situation that I felt like it was easy to see right through it. Like the whole like looking for the house and doing this and that. It was a comfort thing where you're like, okay, well, this is just a nice situation, and like we finally have this opportunity to do it now, and there's no other distraction. It's like, Nathan is, somewhat settled in his place in LA, and he's like, okay, well, I feel good here, and the shop is going well, and this, and that, and then she's getting her stuff together with the block, and everything's going well. So they were like, okay, I'm just gonna run with it. But I think when you look at their actual relationship, it just started off bad in terms of like, and I'm talking about this season with when she said, that's why I love you. Like, come on, like you just blurted that shit out. You did not mean that. You love Lawrence, like love Lawrence. You do not love this guy. He is just here, and you're saying it because there's a comfort zone right now. Like you didn't have anybody else, and that's
I ain't
really
gonna
what it
say
is.
that, bro. I think that she thought that she loved a man because of what they were doing and
No.
all
She
that.
thought. I think she
Yeah.
tried to convince herself. I think there is something she
Tried to
tried to
convince
convince herself this was working. He's here. He's showing up.
Yeah.
It's a little less complicated, but not really. But it was like she was trying to
It's
convince
also the
herself.
thing too, in my mind, and like that. This is obviously I'm a dude speaking on women's issues or whatever. So was it really that complicated for her and Lawrence? Lawrence wanted to be with Issa. While he wasn't with Issa, he got somebody else pregnant. That we all knew, and they even agreed and knew that nothing was going to happen from it. From the moment that Condola told Lauren she was pregnant, she was like, "Nigga, I don't care if you with me or not." You know what I'm saying?
So
So why?
Issa was still insecure though. She couldn't. That wasn't going to be a successful relationship on their end with him having a baby mama if she was still insecure. She had.
But why was she insecure though?
Because it was personal shit. But you know what I mean? Like it was insecure. The show was insecure.
You're ugly.
the show was insecure. I think it could be.
She came in insecure about who she was. So it's like if you insecure about who you are, then I mean, like for instance, in our relationship, like I have a great relationship with the father of my child, and he has a good relationship with the father of my child now. But there's no insecurities in this, not on my end, not on his end, not on the father of my child's end. But if we were in secure places within ourselves, a union of any sort would be no way.
It's like the conditions of it too, though. Like first
Here we
off,
go.
this was someone because it's like it's different if you come into the situation the baby is there. Like, I mean, I would be more open to a kid too, but you having a baby in between us, I think that complicates it. So I don't think that doesn't mean you have to be like insecure.
30
I
seconds,
don't
bro.
feel
It
like
wasn't in between them.
No,
It was not.
Jamal, you said the women's issue, so let the last woman speak on the women's
right.
issue.
I mean, they were on a break, but they still had feelings for each other, and then he had a baby, right?
Like
I
I
wrong?
really feel Derica's point, and I feel where Gabby is going as well. I think it's some of her insecurities, but I also think it is the circumstance of the pregnancy. Lawrence had a baby and decided to move. So I really think it was more of Issa looking at like his decision making and being like, do I want to be a part of this? Because I can foresee the drama that's coming when you're having a child, sir, and literally moving to a different city. So I feel like she had some time to think about it and be like, yo, this probably it's going to be drama here somewhere, and I want to remove myself now rather than later.
But
Okay, so dudes, if you guys were the men, if you were in Issa's situation, what would you have chosen to do? If a girl did that to you, what would you choose to do?
well, but, I mean, at 34, 35, go ahead, Raph. You got it. Go, Raph.
To me, I just really think it was just a lack of communication. Like if everything was just put on the table, and like if they would have just spoke about everything, like I know it dropped a bomb on Issa. Like obviously they, in that last season when they had the date and everything happened, and then boom, that hits them when everything is on this high, and it kind of takes away. It took the luster, the shine off of like the situation because it was going so well. I think they just needed to kind of really sit and talk about the thing. That's why, to your point, Jamal, when you said I don't think it was their situation was that complicated. I felt like if they were to talk about it and just sit and just be like, hey, listen, okay, so this is the case, this is what's gonna happen, this, and that, they would have been able to figure it out. But it was just I don't think the communication was there. And I think that's been a constant throughout the series. A lack of communication in many situations, which led to certain outcomes that we didn't want to see, but were necessary to get us to this point.
Bruh. Like, this the crazy part. That really is slick, technically, what happened with us, though.
Yeah.
Like we knew each other and were dating, like, for a while, and then separated, and she ends up choosing to go be with her ex. And then in that time frame of them being together is when she ended up pregnant. And that was at the end of that relationship. Like literally, she at the end of the relationship finds out that she was pregnant. And so then it circles back around to us, and this is where we are right now. It's like it literally happened.
Yeah.
I think that this is just my viewpoint on it. I think that it's probably I don't want to say easier because I won't say none of it's easy. I think that it's whatever. I will just use easier because I remember the word for a man to decide that than for a woman, right? So like a man can get with a woman who maybe just had a newborn and be like, whatever, we can make it work, more than a woman who can say, I'm gonna get with this man who had a baby with somebody else because he might get back with the baby mama and all the things.
But see, that comes with like being secure. That comes with like trusting your person. You know what I mean? Trusting your partner. So it's like I'm not. Those are insecurities of mine. I'm not worried about if you getting back with this person. We've communicated. We have an open communication system. Like it becomes easy, like you were saying, Raph. Right? Mm-hmm. It becomes easy because when the communication is there, then you have very little misinterpretation and assuming that happens. So it's like, bam, we open. This is what it is. This is what we're talking about. Let's go. It don't have to be that hard. It's not that hard when you have that.
When did you guys start entertaining a relationship again? How old was your child?
My baby is he'll be 2 in March. We just entertained our relationship seriously in October.
So damn. So what? 2 in March, about a year, a little over a year.
Yeah.
16 months, something like that. Yeah. That's it. About 16 months.
So like, but when I decided to leave my ex, the father of my child, I immediately, that was like a year by myself. And that was us figuring out parenting, us figuring out co-parenting and having a healthy relationship there. Exactly what Condola and Lawrence did. Like when we said they had that conversation in the kitchen and she was like, I want you to be happy. That's the same relationship me and the father of my child had. And that's why I didn't think then it meant, oh, we can get back together. No, it meant that I can truly support you in whatever you're doing because it's not about us anymore. We want to see each other happy. It's about the child. So it was exactly
during that year, did you even entertain the thought of Tim's? Were y'all in communication, or was it like in a serious way, or was like you were figuring out yourself and what you had to do?
I was
between that situation.
So I was doing both. I was figuring me out. I would tap in with him and we were doing things. Every time we would tap in, we were doing the same things. So that was the beautiful part about our journey, because although we were both on our own journey, our journeys aligned. So like we would link up and we would talk about like, oh, we're talking about God together. Oh, we're talking about crystals. We're talking about our spiritual journey. Like everything was just so common. And so it was like something that we had before the baby came into place. And once we respected each other in our relationships and went through that whole thing and linked back up together, we were just so happy to be on the same path again together. So it just made everything just much easier to navigate, because we had did the work. We had been doing the work. So when we got together, it was just easy for us to be like, okay, this is the work that we did. This is how we're going to communicate. Bam, here we go.
I want to take a step away from this conversation real quick because we hadn't touched on one thing, which is a major part of the episode. We talked about it, but didn't touch on it for long. Molly, if we got to give an award, and it hurts my heart to say this shit.
Oh my God. Get over it.
I didn't think I was going to say this, but you know what I'm saying. If I got to give somebody an MVP award for this season, Molly.
I said that early.
Comeback player of the year.
She getting it. She's most improved comeback player, MVP. It might be a full suite. Give her the Heisman too.
Here's the thing. I want to make this one point. Some of you said you watched the documentary.
Yeah.
And they made this point. I want you to remember this. When they said that they intentionally made the choices that Issa made, like the extreme of like trash choices on purpose so that they could have an extreme for her to grow to. And so the very, very beginning of this show and the whole writing for Issa this whole entire time was based off intentional trash choices that they wrote for her, was what they said. And so in comparison, Molly was never trash. Exactly. It was always Issa written to be trash to grow on purpose to the point that she's at right now. Yeah. I want y'all to rewatch the documentary.
I'm not sure that's what that means.
I'm
just not sure. A plus B equals C. I don't think
I'm going to put it up tonight and I'm going to record it and send it to you all in the group chat.
In the second episode, Molly asks this man, do you want to leave your suit at my house so you can get ready here to go to this party with me, guy I met 3 days ago? Like, we're not going to.
She was thirsty. She wasn't trash to Issa.
We learned. She learned how to relax and let love find her, because baby, she was trying to find it, and she was looking for it. He was looking for it, but you know, we all got that friend too. That's just like, girl, just it happened for you. Just relax.
That's the point, Derica. And it ain't that how it always happened when you're not looking for it.
When you're not looking,
that shit gonna show up at your office door. Hello, somebody talking. That's what it's gonna be.
Mr. Torian.
It's gonna be Mr. Torian, the person that you hated. Next thing you know, y'all in Napa or somewhere on a company retreat.
That was always on her level, but she was. And then you think about the man that she was dating, wasn't even on her level. That Torian was on her level the whole time. How was she missing that? She was downplaying herself the whole time, dealing with trash ass niggas.
Except Jared.
I don't what he
who.
Jared, he was the guy who was coming up. He wasn't. I think he worked at Enterprise, but he was the guy who was building. You know.
Oh yeah, he was on his journey heading up. He wouldn't settle where he was coming.
And he was a positive influence on Molly. Even Andrew.
But did Molly mess that up?
Yeah, girl.
Yeah. Cause
Andrew was there.
Okay, I remember, cause she was still trash. You know what I'm saying? She was.
But then even Andrew was there.
Andrew
was still
there.
Molly not being ready.
Yep, she wasn't ready. That's what happened when you ain't ready. You fumbled the bag, sis. She fumbled a couple of times, but you know, she had picked it back up with Torian. She had got it
wrong.
Yeah.
I did want to touch on just very small details that just might be missed or like unappreciated. So is it that night or is it that morning? No, yes. So the night where Nathan breaks up with Issa, and she goes in the mirror, and her mirror self is literally just flaming her, like really bad. And she says, I just want to fast forward to the part of my life where everything's okay. Like, I feel like every single person has said that in the mirror. Like, we've all been at that point, and it's such an important part. I think that's one of the biggest parts of this show is how relatable it is and how we can see ourselves in these characters. And to see that, like, it's really important to me, because from that point on, the rest of this episode it just kind of just fast forwards through the progress of like how like that was like a real low for her, and then it's like, damn, now it's just up from here.
Mm-hmm.
That is that's a good point. That's a great point. Damn, you said something. I had a thought and I lost it. Okay, what else? Somebody else got something to say. It come back to me.
Yeah, I had one too. I had one too.
I had one, bro. You said something about.
You said something that triggered something in my mind.
Yeah, something about Issa.
Just wanting to be there.
Wanting to be okay.
Damn, I can't even
Being
think.
happy.
Another,
The
thing.
fast forward part to me was like that's exactly what happened though. Like we ended up getting the fast
Yes.
forward of everybody's life. Yeah.
So it makes sense even in that way
Mhm.
that they did it like that. I think it made sense that we saw Tiffany and Kelly how we saw them because they weren't main characters of the show. But that's why we should have gotten a little bit more of Issa. We got a lot of Molly, but we should have got a little bit more of Issa and Lawrence.
A lot of Molly.
We could have got the engagement, but it was fair for us to get that much of Molly because we wanted to see Molly happy too. We really needed to see Molly that happy, especially after seeing the passing of her mom. I think they could have gave us a little bit more of that. Like they just rushed us right on through that.
I mean, and then you even think about they rushed. There were 2 lines that they talked about in terms of Kelly and her profession, like. Gamada's like, the partners want to do in the state division, and then Kelly's like, I'm gonna call you tomorrow, and then they do a fast forward, and Kelly's in the law firm apparently. So they started the state division of the law firm.
Like, okay, she works.
So like, yo, Molly put her homegirl on to something that can make a lot of money, So you're on maybe you're on track to be partner too, and so you and Torian can be partner at the same thing, and maybe whatever. Maybe there's some things that maybe could have been talked about. Through that,
I think the important part of that was the circle on like what they all mean to each other. Like that was Molly giving an opportunity to one of her best friends, and like this is stuff that we do. Like Slim, like in our circle, we talk about these things all the time in the group chat, and it's like when there's opportunities where we could kind of link, what we do for a living, to help like grow each other, we definitely jump at those opportunities. And that is a big part of this whole thing, was seeing how all 4 of them were helping each other, in terms of like support. It was a support system thing, and I think that was one of the things that I really paid attention to the second time I watched it, was how much Molly and Issa were looking for each other in each situation. So if you pay attention to it, it's like Issa throwing the party for Molly, and then talking her through okay, you're about to meet Torian's family, like you're good, don't worry about it, like let's just make this about you, just have fun. Boom. Then next one, Issa's birthday, and what's her assistant's name?
Quay.
Quay. And
is it Quay?
It's not, but I don't know what it is.
The assistant and Molly put their differences aside based off of what had happened when they beefed at the first block situation, and then they came together to do this, to throw her party together. Yes. And then it was like, oh, I got you, like, we're gonna do this for you, and let's just make this all about you. Now they're playing off of each other because now she's using her quote, and throughout the episode, you see that going back and forth, using each other's quotes. They got back to what they originally were in terms of, it was even better. It was elevated, actually. It was definitely elevated, but they got to a place where they really should have been like the whole time, but without all of the issues and all of like the downs, they wouldn't have been able to get to this point.
It really shows their appreciation for each other. We
Yeah.
really got to see their appreciation for
And
it.
it all came together when she's taking off her dress, and like how they had that moment together, and Molly finally like thanked her for everything. Like
Mhm.
I think the important part is how Issa was there for her when her mom went into the hospital,
And when
and that kind of led all the way up to this point because she was just there, and she was like, "Yo, I'll do whatever you need." Like again, I still have an issue with the missing part between the end of last season and then the start of this season. Like
Yeah,
how they got,
that ain't gonna.
yeah, we're never gonna get it. It's just lost.
Nah.
But that's one of those things we remove those Nathans and just throw them out. And now the first two episodes, you explain exactly what happened, and now I'm happy.
We
But
got 3
that's
Nathan episodes. We didn't need 3 even Nathan episodes. We only need 1 Nathan episode to get his ass up out of here. With do what you got to do. That's that. Let's do this. We've been here. Hey, you know what, Tim? Like you said last time, whenever so good, it don't take us that long to get to an hour.
Exactly.
We're at an hour right now. I don't want to go too much longer. But what I do want to do is talk about. We talking about this finale episode in as a whole, but let's talk about the series, the legacy of the series as a whole, right? And what it's done for um, black entertainment, what it's done for black TV shows, what it's done for black showrunners, black writers, black camera, and not even that, because even if you watch a documentary, you see a good number of white faces, but you see white faces that understand the culture and things that they are going into, which is also part of the issue that we want. Like everybody's here pro black. But we also understand that we ain't gonna be able to get everything that we need done without some white people on our side to get where we need to be. So I'll just do a round table. I'm gonna start with what's her face that she back on. Um, Gabby, the legacy of Insecure. What do you think the legacy is? What does Insecure mean to you? Answer any one of those questions.
Insecure to me, I feel like it did some great things for the. Ooh, hold on, for the coach.
Okay. All right.
Mom.
Ma.
The meatloaf. Ah.
Shut up. I feel like it did some great things for the culture. Like just seeing how everybody really appreciated seeing like a normalcy that they could relate to, and it's not like a lot of traumatic, issues in it. It looked like a normal black life, like that we could relate to across the board. It just gave off such blackness, and I really appreciated that from Issa, and it was done so well. And it didn't look low budget. It was just, it was natural. Money millennials could relate to it. And even, my mother, my aunts, they have watched it as well and found it funny. So I really appreciate what she did with that. Insecure was just, it was a great thing for the culture. I feel like a shift, it raised the bar. I know we had this conversation. I think it was me, you, Tim, had the conversation about like, just like expectations on black film and like what we bring to the table. So really appreciated what Issa did.
Good answer. Let's go to Tim and Derek. Thoughts on the legacy of Insecure?
Um, I think it definitely went down as one of the greats. I think it'll be referred to. I think it definitely went down as one of our black films, like or black pieces that will be in conversation. Even just like even after it went off, I was like I need something else black and they can give me that. Like just trying to figure out like who else is making something like that. I think the closest thing to it, and it is argumentative, but she's gotta have it. That was the Spike Lee film. That was like the other closest thing to like seeing black art, black music, black people, like just being things being represented from a black standpoint. So I really appreciate that about Insecure. I appreciate the growth. I appreciate the growth of the characters and how many people they brought on. Even when watching the documentary they were talking about, like the white lady was saying, like, it wasn't many white faces in here until I came, and it's because I'm putting people on that I know. So I appreciated that. Even it wasn't even necessarily about like, let me just get more white faces in here. It's like you're working with a team of people that just want to put people on. This whole season, this whole everything about this show was putting people on, just constantly putting people on, constantly giving people chances. And so that was nice to see. Even hearing the director, the one white guy was like, I was the only white guy in the truck. And that has never happened to me in 17 years or whatever many years it was. So that dynamic is amazing. I can only imagine what the sets felt like, and just like the vibe and just like the mood of being able to work amongst those type of people. And the fact that I feel all of that and I was watching it on screen, it just lets you know how much of an impact that it really did have on us. So it was cool. I really enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed seeing myself in so many of the different characters, seeing my friends in the characters, being able to have these conversations about it. It was really nice. It felt really good. I really it's one for the culture for sure.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And then I would add, I think it's super cool. I mean, because we're sitting here talking about it right now in real time. Like we didn't wait, we're not waiting, and we're not talking about this as a culture piece, like Fresh Prince 25-year anniversary, and they have a reunion, and we're sitting around talking about it, The Last Dance. You know what I'm saying? 30 years later, we're not sitting up and talking about it afterwards. We're talking about this in real time, week by week, season by season, because we knew and we know. You understand what I'm saying? Like we knew it from the very beginning, which is why it's so dope to be a part of this with you all in this moment in time, because we've grown, we've gone through ups and downs in all aspects of our lives, and to see like the faces in front of me up, everybody's better than they were when we first started this journey. So it's like super dope to see that in real time with my friends, to then have real communication about characters that were created to represent us, and they actually did. And so that's phenomenal. And I just appreciate like it's so inspiring, like to see like the documentary and understand like the mentalities of everybody that, you know, tried to piece this together all of this time, and to understand like some of the conversations we've had working together, just in them being friends, like of the things that we aspire to do and want to do and are doing. And even just like us taking this the leap to just continue to do this and keep our friendship going through just this right here, this platform alone, you know, like it's inspiring to know like that people with the same kinds of mentalities that we have, that care about it the same way that we do, that have the same intentionality and attention to the detail, like they did it. So that means we can do it too, and we're doing it, and we've given them their props and critique, and we're in the beginning of what we're doing in real time is in association with that. So like I know that this is a moment, and that whole time frame of that being was a moment. So like I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you for all the time, the debates, the perspectives, and the growth, and like the reality checks that we've all had through something shown on screen based off of characters. You know, that's dope. And I can, you know, I can't say anything negative about it at this point. It's just it did its job. So like thank you, Issa, and everybody associated, man. Like it's been a dope ride. And I'll continue to be able to watch it, because you know I can watch it every day, you know, if I wanted to, and take 5 hours out of my day and watch the whole thing. So it's easy watch, easy read, guys. Easy read.
Binge,
You know,
It's only 30 minutes. Only 30 minutes. Now there are certain episodes you want to watch. Obviously, if you made it this far in the episode, you want to make sure you go back and watch the finale of season 1, but maybe just the last 2 minutes, because it's, you know, the show was built on the Tasha.
Oh
back.
my Lord.
The show was built on the back of Tasha. Come on now, in here. That's
somebody.
Yeah,
what do you think about the legacy of Insecure?
Tasha, I'm sorry.
Damn.
Is you
Go
hungry?
ahead. You got get it off. Yeah, just go.
Is you hungry? Is all I want to say. Is you hungry?
Alfredo, Texas toast. Continue.
I think what this show was able to do, I mean, I had touched on it earlier, but the relatability for us, um, as a whole, in watching the show and connecting with these moments, um, made it what it really is. And her giving us, like Issa being able to give us this, um, in just 5 seasons, um, to be able to package this up and like every Sunday, like keep us coming back. And it's like, damn, I went through that. I went through that. I went through that. Like it's so much of that is what I saw in the show. Um, and it made it easy for me to continue to come back. And I think it made it easy for us as a whole to come back, as a culture. And then to Derica's point with the putting on aspect of it, like again, I'm always energies. So important.
Bro, you making a great point, but we can't hear it. Oh, no,
Am I back or no?
now you are. Yeah, you good now.
How much did I?
No,
I
no,
can't.
you just wrap it. Just wrap it up, baby. Wrap it up, B. Wrap it up, B.
No. I got to get this off. Am I here or no?
You good. You good. You good. You good. You good. You good.
To Derica's point about, I can't. To Derica's point about putting on, the minor details is what I've always paid attention to on the show, and it's the music. About the artist that Issa was always choosing to put on. This season in particular was about artists that are not completely on yet. I know the episode with Lawrence and Issa, or the Lawrence and Condola episode, there was a song that plays in the beginning of the episode when they're walking away from each other at the car, and that song is not even on Apple Music yet. I looked it up 1,000 times, and I was like, damn, I don't want to just play this on YouTube all the time. I need my man to get on so he could just be on Apple Music. But that is what has been so big and so crucial for this show, because and to Keisha's point earlier about all the people that she put into this last episode that were writers and other actors that were that were part of the same circle. The putting on aspect is a big thing in our culture, and I think if you take away the negative stuff of crabs in a barrel and stuff like that, this is what we're trying to achieve as a culture, is putting each other on and building us all the way up to the point where we don't need what you said earlier, Slim, that white face in the room to help us put on, because we know we can do it by ourselves. It just takes all of us coming together to be able to do it and having that same mentality. And I think what this show was able to do was provide us with that. And again, this just goes up there with the greats, the Living Single, the Girlfriends. It's all there in that realm, and it's going to be talked about for opening up the window for way more Black producers, Black writers, to just kind of continue this legacy. And you see it through all genres, honestly. I think a big part of it is Jordan Peele and getting into horror with Get Out and Us and stuff like that. You're seeing it everywhere, and I think we just kind of need to just kick down the door and just take it from there.
Well said. Well said. Keisha, what you got?
I don't know. Insecure, it means a lot to me. Insecure, it means a lot to me. It's not a perfect show at all, but just kind of thinking about 2016 Keisha in Memphis versus 2021 Keisha in LA, and just seeing how revolutionary the show has been on and off the screen. It's opened up so many doors to just see ourselves on the screen and just living and being in the messiness of being a Black millennial in life and trying to figure out love and career and just life and your mental health and your spirit and just everything that goes into living right now. Like we just haven't seen that in our generation for us. But then also, you got to think more right now. It's just like I'm more in awe of like what Issa and the team has done off the screen with Insecure. Like it's unheard of and it's not been done. It's really revolutionized the way things are happening for me and my friends and all of us. Like, you know, the opportunities and the access is unparalleled. Just even the information that's offered in the doc can change a kid's future, and just knowing what a showrunner is and just knowing what a scout band is and who's on it and just even seeing people that look like them in these positions and doing these things. So in short, I'm just really grateful for the legacy of Insecure, and being it's definitely a classic to me. Like I don't know if we've really had like a Black classic in a long time. Like I'm trying to think of the last one, and I kind of go to like Fresh Prince, Martin, that era. Some people would say Blackish, and I'm like,
You're missing.
not for me personally.
You're missing one. You're missing
With
one.
Girlfriends.
Girlfriends.
You're missing another one. Jamie Foxx
show. I mean, there are ones, but like made after 2010. Where we at? I don't know.
After 2010, so there was going to be my next question, but we up on it. But so we'll think that I'm not. I want to give it a little bit more time before I figure out where this lands in the pantheon of Black TV shows. I don't think it gets into my top 3. I think my top 3 is pretty much set with Fresh Prince, Different World, and Malcolm and Eddie. But
what?
Yo,
I said,
what?
wait, we can wrap this shit up right now. We can wrap this shit up
Malcolm
right
and
now. Nah, he's just trolling. He's just trolling. Don't fall for that shit.
I'm joking.
I saw it in his eyes, so he was like, "Nah, I gotta hit him with some shit on this last one." Yeah.
But there is no. I will say outside of this show being on HBO, I would say that Insecure has been more influential than Blackish. Blackish was influential because it was on a network show, ABC, with 7-8 seasons. You know, used the gun thing. So they had another type of thing. They had another show they had to make for ABC, and East and them had another show to make for HBO. But kind of around the same time, and I just think that for people our age, as much as we like Blackish, I think that we will also, if you put it in front of me, you can watch the first 5 seasons of Blackish or all 5 seasons of Insecure. You're going to pick Insecure. You know what I'm saying? So I think,
but Blackish is made more so for white people who probably don't really understand anything. Blackish, Insecure is made for us. And then I think specifically, Gabby, I know you had said like your mom watched the show and like she, she appreciates it. But I think like specifically our generation is what it was made for, because I can't talk to kids younger than me and then be like, yo, you watch Insecure? Like, you don't get this shit. Like, you didn't live this. You're not going through the shit that we're going through. Like, and Keisha, to your point about like how like it showed the life, the love, the job, the career, and everything like that you got to go through. There's added aspects that we as a generation have to go through with the added thing of mental health. There's so much shit that like generations before us didn't have to deal with because it was never talked about. So it's just like, oh, it's just here. Like here, this is just, everything was kind of simplified because they didn't know. I hate to say it like that, but I think that's the best way to say it. But everything is here now. There is so much more that we deal with than past generations because it's came to the forefront. Like people have announced it and it is out in the open, and now we are dealing with that. So there's so much added into the bag that it creates, a lot more for us, like mentally.
Oh yeah, it definitely it's definitely a show for the times. I think that we can all kind of, even when you watch if you watch the documentary, you can think about what you were going through or where you were doing when the first episode came on. And then the best thing about it, like you said, we saw the growth of not just these actresses and actors as characters, but as people. Like Issa transformed a lot through through the thing. I call Issa Black Girl Next Door. People fight me on that, but I think that that's her next thing. She can be just as big. If Jennifer Aniston can have a career, Issa Rae can have a career doing the exact same thing. But we're going to end it there. And
hey, real quick. I just want to say real quick, just one liner. This show, I think, is hard to, like what you were saying, Jamal. It needs more time to be like ranked for real. But I think what it is to me, in a good comparison, is what a J. Cole album is.
Slow build.
It mirrors my life a lot of times. When he puts an album out, it's like it's a timepiece. A good Drake album, when you listen to it, it takes you right back to the time frame of your life. Like that's what Insecure is already. Like you watch different seasons, you can relate to that time frame of that of your life. It's like already is that. So like that's saying something. If nothing else, that's already saying a lot.
Well, here's what I want to do. I want to thank you guys. The Kickback Insecure crew. Y'all have been around. I think we've done it this way the last 2 seasons. And then before that, when we were recording at the studio, Tim, you was on it. I think you might have been on every single one except the first season. I think I had Courtney and Shayna on that one. KJ and Gabby, appreciate you guys for always being down to clown. Sometimes y'all are cool people, sometimes you're not.
Jamal.
A wonderful addition with Derica in this thing. She came in holding court last week, and then even tonight had some gems that she dropped on us. And Raph, same thing. I think you might have been even the earlier seasons, not even on the other, like calling in or some stuff. Like we're in the studio. So I do appreciate y'all for y'all support of the Kickback and all we do, and all 6 of you watching. We appreciate your Instagram. Somebody commented on the last one when we were talking about like biting into a hot pocket. Because they're like, you shouldn't eat a hot pocket. Don't eat hot pockets with the Tostino's pizzas because it's bad. And I'm like, you watched that whole 45-minute video and that's what you like, way to go. You know, that's what happens on YouTube, bro. You never know what you're gonna get.
Pick and choose.
Anyway, like I said, man, I appreciate you all. I love you all for doing this. Like we said, good looks to Issa Rae and her crew for doing all that she did, for giving us this piece of work to talk about. Somebody, Bomani Jones, used to call it the Black Civil War on Twitter, because every Sunday it would have Twitter on one. And so it gave us great content, great things to talk about. We all projected upon it, but it was fun. So with that being said, this is the last ever Kickback Reviews Insecure. And we are out.
Peace.